AI for business automation. Most founders get this completely wrong. They buy the tool, they plug it in, but they automate the wrong process. All they built was faster chaos. My name's Scott Bartnick. I'm a 2x Inc. 5000 CEO, and I've been building systems and automation workflows for over 10 years. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact 5-step process I use to implement AI into my business and set it up so it runs without you. Let's jump right in. So in step 1, the biggest thing to understand is what do we actually need to automate? And typically we call that constraint in your business. Now I did a little diagram to show what a constraint actually is in a business and how we're going to solve it and think through this before we actually look at tools or what we need to implement. I'm also throughout the video going to show you examples and how to actually do all this in your business. So the first thing we want to do is understand what is the needy piece of your business, what is taking up time, where are you losing money, where are you losing clients? And then we want to determine if we fix this, will it increase revenue? Will it increase lifetime value? Will it reduce risk in the business? Or will it recapture time for yourself or your team? If the answer is no to any of those, you don't have the proper constraint yet, and you should go back up and look at new project ideas. Once you have a yes to at least one of these items, then you have to ask yourself one more question, which we have right here, is the output really worth it? So basically what I mean by that is it worth the time, the money, the resources, the API credits to solve this issue? Now with AI automation and tools, a lot of times it is because it's pretty affordable, but sometimes the development of it might be weeks where you're only saving an hour a day or less. And so you really have to balance where you're going to actually start implementing. Now, once we decide what constraint we want to look at, we need to understand how a full system works really quickly. So in a basic system, we have some sort of input. That input is going to trigger work to be done. That work's going to get done. We're going to deliver it. And then from there, and this is what most founders miss, we need some kind of feedback loop to make our system smarter every single time. Now that's the basics of a system. So that way they're getting better every single time and we continue to get better results. An example of this would be in service-based businesses. You have a client who orders from you. That's your trigger to start the work. Your team does the work. They deliver the work. But then if you just deliver the work and you don't ask how it is, if it met expectations, ask for feedback, ask for revisions, then they might not be happy with it. They might go leave bad reviews. They might not come back. So this piece of the feedback is so critical. So let's jump back in here. Now, when it comes to determining bottlenecks or constraints in your business, I do have a worksheet which you can grab for free down below. And I've done several videos on this, so I'm not going to go through it in depth, but it has templates and examples that are really helpful determining where you actually want to solve a problem in your business. Then from there, we're going to go into what we just discussed, which is that system. And then once we know what the system looks like, we have to map it out. So for this, we use standard operating procedures or SOPs. Now you might think this is just system talk, but building a workflow or an automation or an agentic agent tool is just a system. So once we master this piece of it and we treat it kind of like we're going to work with an employee, then we can set up the tool in literally minutes. And that's the power of understanding this piece of it. So what I do is for any process, I build some sort of standard operating procedure or SOP. Now these SOPs can be as simple as me taking a Loom video, recording it, grabbing the transcription, putting it into any tool of your choice, and then ask it to turn into an SOP. Now we do have a template. So typically what I do is I take that template and I put in there and say, hey, morph this into my template. So again, down below for free, we have the SOP template, and then I have a specific one designed for AI agents, which includes things like what tools you want them to use, what tools they need access to, if there's, API access. There are different questions that you might not put in a traditional SOP. But again, one of the advantages of using the standard operating procedures or SOPs is the fact that the way we structure them, we put goals and what good looks like into the documentation. So it helps the AI agent know if it's doing a good job. And this becomes really, really important when we get into that feedback loop and actually making this more of an agentic tool versus just a workflow. Before we go a little bit further, I've used a couple of terms like workflow and kind of AI agent and agentic. So I want to kind of draw, and I didn't plan this ahead of time, so bear with me here. But basically, typically a workflow is, we'll use it off the system models. So a workflow would be a simple tool that takes an input. So let's just say someone does an onboarding form. Now this onboarding form will trigger specific things to be done. Maybe they do an onboarding form on your website when they sign up, and then that triggers it to automatically populate the CRM. It might automatically trigger a note to the billing department to make sure everything looks correct. It might automatically build out your project management tool, so it's preset for your team to start. It could also automatically build out the onboarding scope, or it could build out the strategy plan. And then it can deliver that in multiple ways. It can deliver it all in an email. It could be that it's all built in your project management tool. And the team just knows once a new client comes on to go check Asana for that dashboard, and then they can move through project management much quicker because this workflow gave it to them. And then from there, you can give the feedback. We can build a database in the backend, which is more advanced. We'll get to that. But the other option would be, so that's just kind of like a one flow. It does the same thing every single time. Now, to make this more intelligent for the work piece of it, we can add in AI and automation that allows it to Google the company, to do competitor research, to do keyword research for SEO companies, to do whatever pieces that need to be done that are typically manually done and take a lot of time, but are also pretty similar every single time. So you can feed this logic into the tool, and then it can deliver that in the same way as a project management, as an email. But when you want to work in the feedback, this is when I consider something agentic, is when it's smart. The feedback loop is innate. So what you can do is say that either the team gives it a score every single time, or the client gives it a score every single time, or just based on client approval of that strategy. So it will all sit in a database, and every time it gets approved or gets scored 1 through 10, that score will go back to the system and it'll become smarter and smarter. And I'm going to show you all how to do this in a very simple, high-level way. I'm not focused on the tools. I want to focus on the systems behind the tools. That's what it looks like. Now, in step 3, before we actually get into building these tools, we want to determine what actually needs to be done. So what do we need to eliminate? What do we need to automate? What do we need to delegate is typically how I teach this. But since we're focused specifically on the automation, does every single step need to happen? What information is critical? What actually provides the results needed? So you want to do a deep dive into your current system and then determine, how do we make it better? Do we add a few steps because now it's going to be automated? Do we take away a few steps? Is every piece of it actually valuable? And what I always recommend doing is, before you go build the tool, as you build that SOP, build that current state, and then go have you or someone on your team work through it as if it was a manual. Go do it manually a few more times. Take notes on what's missing, what maybe logins they needed, what tools, but then also make suggestions on things that you could improve in this process. Like, if I had unlimited time, what would I do here? Maybe I would do research on 10 companies versus 1 company. Maybe I would take screenshots. Whatever you need to do, document that in an updated version of that SOP. Make this your dream version of whatever you need to eliminate or whatever you need to add into that process. Then in step 4, we're actually going to automate it. So this is what we take that SOP and we put it into a tool. Currently, I'm really enjoying using Manus, which is an AI agent. I'll go through tools later, but the reason why I'm enjoying Manus is it actually does pretty much, it works more as an agent than an AI chatbot or tool. Claude is very similar. Claude is probably a little bit more powerful, but more developer focused, whereas Manus is just allowing me to do what I want kind of in chat. So if I wanted to do YouTube research or things like that, I can take that SOP, put it in there, and basically whatever tool you use, whether it's Claude, Manus, or ChatGPT, any of these, and you say, okay, what tools do you need access to and how do we implement this together so we can automate it completely? Now, that is the advantage of all these tools now, is AI is able to connect to your different tools and build out these workflows for you. And I'll show you that example in a minute, but I want to go through and teach a little bit more before we actually do this. Now, once you build that out, I'm going to go next step. I'm going to go through some actual examples and we'll actually work through it. But that's where you're going to start embedding these tools into your business. So the biggest piece here is every time we have a success, we're going to repeat and improve. But you always want to treat this kind of like each workflow is an employee. They're doing a job. So someone kind of owns maintaining that, updating it. So before, if maybe a strategist on your team was building out the strategy plan and now a large piece of it's done by AI, that strategist would then be responsible for ensuring that there's a human in the loop, giving feedback and growing results, making it better over time, especially if you don't have the technical skills to build a database and have it learn automatically, which we will show you. And it's actually super simple. Let's get in here into actual examples so you can get some ideas of things I've done and things you can do in your business. So one of the biggest things we did in my business was we found that our business development representatives, while great, were pretty slow at responding, especially when it came to doing research. So they would spend 30 to 60 minutes, look at proposals, look at sample case studies, do research on the company, which is all things we asked them to do, but it was taking them a very long time to reply to incoming leads. And so instead of getting really quick responses, they were spending a lot of time getting these great answers and great responses. But the problem was time to lead was actually more important. So they would have been better off just responding, yep, we do that. And that's just based on a study we did with our leads, is we cut the time to response just with our actual humans. And we said, hey, just respond as quick as you can, give them a link, let them schedule, versus do a bunch of research, create this amazing response, do research. And so what we did was we found the good in between where we use AI, but we keep a human in the loop. So we have basically a database in the back, which we use Supabase, which again, I'll go over the tools in a little bit. And it basically knows when someone books a call because we connected it to all of our tools. And so basically someone will email us and they'll say, hey, I need blah, blah, blah. The AI will draft a response. Our team will actually hit approve still. And then if they respond positively or they book a call, then our backend scores that response and gives us more responses like that. So it's really powerful. And that's how that feedback loop really starts automating your work and making it extremely good. So you can basically give it all of the instructions and have it do all of the research needed to get the right results, but then it's learning. So as it gets more and more book calls, it's getting better and better. Now, the other example we talked about was the client delivery, retention. So we integrate this into our project management software, and it will flag accounts with potential issues. And it flags that just by looking at delivery dates, what's been done, what the expectations are, what the goals were, because all that's part of our onboarding process. And so this allows us to not only flag things, but also helps us speed up reporting. So with our accounts, we report every single week, and this just helps automate that process. And it does it basically by going into our project management software, reading through different details, and giving our management a more dashboard style reporting tool so they can really keep an eye on projects without micromanaging and without having to go through 100, 200, 300 clients and see exactly what's going on. So it allows our management to have a better scope. And again, for both of these, with this one, we're increasing lifetime value, we're reducing risk, and we're capturing time for multiple people, especially with the reporting part of it. And in the last one, it's really focused on bringing in new sales. So we're focused on that revenue. So that's why understanding why you're actually implementing these is so powerful. All right, so before we get into tools, I already kind of went over this, but basically what we have is a simple automation. So a simple automation would be someone does the onboarding form. It triggers basically using Zapier or a different tool, a notification or email to go out, and maybe it creates a project in Asana and it puts their information in Go High Level or whatever CRM you're using. So that is simple. It's going to be the exact same every time. There's no AI involved and there's no thought process. It's not getting better. It's not learning, but it's doing a really good job. It's feeding down data to all the places it needs to go. Now, AI assisted would be kind of maybe human in the loop, but you're going to do that same process, but the next step would be it's going to then do research. It's going to summarize. It's going to look at the competitors. It's going to do SEO research. It's going to do whatever you need done. It's going to pre-build that in. So basically it helps get that strategy started. So instead of me getting a new client, spending 4 hours doing research and then starting on the strategy plan, maybe I can jump right into the strategy plan. Or maybe it makes the first draft of the strategy plan and then the human in the loop really revises it and edits it. Now, a full AI agent is really kind of what we just did, but we're taking that human out of the loop and it's more live. It can take actions. So in a similar example with customer service, you could have a chatbot on your website and the chatbot could answer questions, send them a calendar link to book. But things that like Amazon have implemented is that AI agent can refund people, can give them credits, can help them order things, and it's all integrated into their live chat. So it can answer real questions but solve problems intelligently. And then based on feedback, so the customer gives feedback. You can typically, when you do a chat agent, there's a 1 through 4 or 5 stars. You give feedback, but it learns how quickly it's solving issues, and all that gets probably fed up to a management team and a developer who's reviewing these and making the agent better and better. But it's also learning from the conversations. As it's getting 5-star reviews, it's looking at that and learning. As it's getting 1-star reviews, it's looking at that and learning. How do we get this to solve the actual problems? And these are the more agentic tools, and it's really just focused on that feedback piece. Now, tools. I promise I will actually show you a setup of a simple tool, but in here, so the more traditional and slightly outdated at this point is N8N, Zapier, and Make. These are still really, really powerful, and they're usually trigger or schedule based. And what I mean by that is that onboarding form example, the easiest way to do something like that is to use Zapier. When someone completes the onboarding form, it gets what's called an API call or notification saying, hey, this onboarding form was done. An API is just basically a phone call from one software to another. This form has been done. We need to do the work, and then we need to deliver the work. That is what that's doing. And same thing with Make. It's a more advanced version, and then N8N is the most advanced version of that type of tool where you can build in the agentic piece of it and you can make more software style. It gets way more complicated. If you're just getting started and you want to build something simple, Zapier is still the easiest. It's super easy to log in, really easy to use. No affiliate program, so I'm not selling them or trying to sell you anything. Now, the brain of all these tools, right now, the best are obviously Claude, ChatGPT, and Manus, in my opinion. Manus is a little different, and that's actually the one I'm going to show you where I'm using it. Claude is probably the most powerful, especially for coding and programming. And the advantage of these tools now is they integrate. So let me actually pull this up so you can see what I'm talking about. So they integrate. So let's go. And it's just manus.im. So right here, you'll see this is what it looks like. It looks a lot like ChatGPT or Claude, whatever you're used to using. They have projects, they have libraries, they have skills. And if you don't know what any of those mean, you gotta start playing around. But the advantage is you can connect the tools that I'm recommending. So you have an not unlimited, but you can make custom tools too. And you can use the AI to make custom tools that literally just add custom in here. So you can connect pretty much whatever tool you need to the system, whether it's your Gmail, whether it's your project management software. And this allows you to build basically these automations or these agents right in the chat. And so that's why I say that a lot of these tools are going to become less useful, like Make and Zapier, but also you're able to integrate these. So just because you don't want to learn Zapier, you don't want to learn one of these tools, you can just integrate it, you log in, you hit connect, and then in here you can say, here's the SOP that we discussed earlier. I need your help developing the standard operating procedure into an automated workflow. I want to make sure that we work in feedback loops. What tools do you need access to, and what do you recommend? One of the cool things about kind of Manus in particular, which other tools are coming out with, is you can build full software right in there just by using one prompt. Now, this is more advanced software that I built, and I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. So I built this tool fully in Manus, and I didn't have to integrate a server or anything like that. That's one of the advantages. And then I can, in the chat, continuously have questions and answers. This is a much more complicated, works more like a software, but it's basically an SEO tool that tells me what to film. So you can see right here, I have under filming, this is the video I'm actually filming, and it gives me a whole bunch of analytics. Now, if you're interested in this tool, I do have a beta down below. It's a paid program, and we have very limited access, so no worries either way. But I just want to show you that you can build complete software just by prompting it, and you can see that it's integrated right into basically this chat. Like it's literally right here. I can view my dashboard. This is all done by text. I didn't do any coding except for giving it access to tools through logging in or through what I mentioned before was those APIs, which just gives the tool access. And then in Manus, they have basically, if you come here, it's literally a server. So this is what would run Zapier or N8N, but you can come in here into your settings, which I'm going to kind of keep all this private, but you can add your API keys safely under the secret section. And if you don't know how to do that, you just ask in the chat, how do I safely add my API keys? And it will protect them. It'll connect it to your server. It'll keep it safe. And the nice thing is they have enterprise security behind it, which I do believe Claude is coming out with that as well. But just right now, this is what I'm enjoying the most. Now, Supabase, again, is that database behind everything. So with my software, everything is fed into Supabase, and that's where it stores all the data. And then on top of it, I have AI that helps make decisions. So it learns what I'm approving, what I'm denying, what I'm filming, what did well when I filmed it, what did poorly when I filmed it, and it's looking for more options to film based on that. So it's getting smarter and smarter, and it's the same thing with kind of any tools. You really want to build this backend database so it can become educated. Now, the benefit of a tool like Supabase is it's AI friendly, so it can read the information very quickly without using a large token window, which probably doesn't matter to you, but at some point things do get fairly expensive if you don't set it up correctly. Now, integrating it with your tools, you want to integrate it with, you can ask it questions with Slack and then your CRM. I use Go High Level. There's a 50% off link down below. Again, all this is available for you as needed, but Go High Level is where we do our email automation, our texting and things like that. And then we just integrate all of our AI on top of it. So it connects and we do those API calls that direct. Then I mentioned before Loom and basically the AI tools. Now, again, the point of this video was really not on the tools behind this, but understanding the system behind it, because I am really focused on teaching systems, because if you understand that, you can understand how to implement and solve any business problem. So first thing is we want to identify the problem. We want to map it out. We want to figure out what we need to eliminate, but also how do we improve it? So this could probably be changed to like, how do we improve the current process? I typically recommend doing it manually first, so you actually see it, you learn what the formulas are, what you need access to. Then you're going to look at automating it, and then you delegate that to your team or to some sub feedback loop so it runs without you. And that's really the key, is getting this all to run without you. Now, if you like content like this, please subscribe, and don't forget to grab all of the free check sheets down below. They will help walk you through every single part, especially the one specifically on AI agents. That will help you answer the right questions. So when you give the instructions to whatever tool you're going to use, it will have a better understanding of how to implement. Thank you.